Mandibular Torre, most common location. It is situated in the lingual sulcus in molar region or lingual sulcus premolar region, buccal sulcus premolar region or in lingual sulcus incisor region. So mandibular torre is a type of exhaustosis. So exhaustosis are nothing but localized bony masses or localized bony thickenings or bony protuberances present in the jaws involving maxilla and mandible. So the exhaustosis develop as a result of stresses placed on the bone from the adjacent teeth. And there are different types of exhaustosis based on the location, such as buccal exhaustosis, palatal exhaustosis, which is also known as palatal tubercles, and third is mandibular torre and palatal torre. So there are two different types of exhaustosis involving the palate. One is palatal tubercle and another is palatal torre. So now let's see one by one, starting with buccal exhaustosis. The first picture here, it shows the buccal exhaustosis. So in the picture, we can appreciate multiple well-defined lobulated masses that are present on the buccal aspect of the maxilla. So it is involving the entire maxilla from the midline, from the anterior portion up to posterior portion of the maxilla. It is getting involved with multiple lobulated bony masses. And it is also involving the mandible. So here you can appreciate the bony masses on the buccal aspect of the mandible as well. Therefore, the buccal exhaustosis are situated on the buccal aspect of the jaw. It is present above the teeth and below the mucobuccal fold. Above the teeth and below mucobuccal fold. So this picture is an example for buccal exhaustosis. And now moving on to the second picture. So here we can appreciate well a single nodular palatal mass, bony exhaustosis on the palate. So here it is situated unilaterally and these are known as palatal exhaustosis, which is also known as palatal tubercle. Palatal exhaustosis or palatal tubercles, it is usually present bilaterally, but it can also occur unilaterally as shown in the picture. And when you observe the location, it is situated typically on the palatal aspect of maxillary tuberosity, distal to the molars. Okay, so it is situated on the lingual aspect or palatal aspect of maxillary tuberosities. And now we should differentiate this term palatal exhaustosis or palatal tubercles from one another term, that is palatal torre. So here this picture, the first picture, you can observe the palatal torre. So palatal torre is restricted to the midline of the palate. Okay, so it is situated in the midline suture of the palate. So then they are called as palatal torre, and if it is present on either side of the palate unilaterally or bilaterally near the maxillary tuberosity region or palatal to the tuberosity region, then it is known as palatal tubercle or palatal exhaustosis. And looking into the second picture, so here you can appreciate a midline structure, that is midline bony masses, that is known as midline palatal torre. And apart from that, we also see the lateral masses. So here you can see lobulated lateral masses on either side of the palate, which is situated palatal to the maxillary molar and tuberosity region, and they are known as palatal tubercle or palatal exhaustosis. Therefore, this picture shows midline palatal torre with bilateral palatal tubercles. And next comes mandibular torre. So, this picture shows the situation of the mandibular torre. So, here we can appreciate that it is situated on the lingual aspect of the teeth. Okay, it is situated in the lingual sulcus, and if you observe this picture, we can make out that it appears lobulated. So, you can see multi-lobulated masses present on the lingual aspect of the mandibular posterior teeth, and the teeth that are involved are premolar region. Okay, so the torre will be focused or will be centered towards the lingual aspect of the premolar region. So that's the next point. So lingual aspect of the premolar region is the most common location of mandibular torre, and to be more specific, it is situated above mylohyoid line or mylohyoid ridge. So what is this term mylohyoid line or ridge? It is nothing but a normal anatomical landmark found on the lingual aspect or medial aspect of the mandible. So this mylohyoid line or ridge, it extends from the midline, that is from the genial tubercle, and runs posteriorly up to the level of third molar, and it is followed continued posteriorly as mylohyoid groove. Therefore, above mylohyoid line situated the mandibular torre, and the second picture, if you look into the second picture, we can appreciate the bony exhaustosis, that is the mandibular torre on lingual aspect of the mandibular teeth. Okay, so here again it is on the lingual aspect of the premolar region. So this is an X-ray which is an occlusal view of the mandible. So this is the genial tubercle. So here you can see this is the midline structure genial tubercle that is seen in this radiograph. And now we should know the different types of mandibular torre. So it can be single or it can be multiple masses, and it can be unilateral or bilateral, but predominantly it is found bilateral, unilateral or bilateral, and it can appear nodular or it can appear lobulated. So the term nodular simply denotes a single nodule, or if you say it is multinodular, so it is simply means the presence of multiple nodules with separate bases, or we can say individual nodules having individual bases separately. Whereas when you mention it as lobulated or multilobulated, it denotes the presence of multiple lobules and all the lobules having a common base or a single base. Therefore, both are different types of torre and they are not same. The terms nodular and lobulated are not same. Okay, this is the difference between the terms nodular and lobulated, and I have mentioned about the location of mandibular torre. And next, looking on to some other IOPAs, the first picture you can observe, this is a bony mass that you can appreciate in the distal to the molar region in the maxilla. So this is denoting a palatal tubercle, palatal exhaustosis or palatal tubercle. So if it is large enough, if the thickening is large enough, then it will be well appreciated on the radiograph. And the next picture you can see in the edentulous ridge. Okay, in the edentulous ridge region, you can see some bony masses projecting above the normal level of the edentulous ridge, and it denotes the subpontic exhaustosis. Okay, so it is also known as reactive subpontic exhaustosis because of the forces acting on the edentulous region from the overlying pontic. We can find an exhaustosis below the pontic in the posterior ridge. Okay, therefore it is due to the stresses, masticatory stresses acting on the edentulous ridge, which results in exhaustosis. So it is an example of reactive subpontic exhaustosis. So exhaustosis can also develop in the region where we place free gingival graft. So it is due to stimulation of the bone. Okay, so these are the different types of exhaustosis based on the location. So I have explained it with pictures. And now getting back to the question, we now know the most common location of mandibular torre, which is on the lingual aspect of the mandibular premolar region, first and second premolar region, and specifically above mylohyoid line or above mylohyoid ridge. Therefore, from the given 4 options, we can eliminate option 3, which says buccal sulcus. And out of the other 3 options, it is option 2, that is mandibular torre is situated on the lingual sulcus and in premolar region above mylohyoid line or above mylohyoid ridge. Therefore, the right answer here regarding the most common location is option 2, which says lingual sulcus premolar region.